Hello, Jen here, and I have a layout for you for the Wild Whisper design team and also for Off the Board. So Crystal from Pineapple Papers is doing a full month of Off the Board again, 30 days in July, and she has a bunch of friends joining her. Some are doing it for the full 30 days with her. Others, like myself, we're just going to pop in here and there, hopefully a couple times a week if we can. And so I thought that this was a good opportunity to go through my Pinterest boards and look for some inspiration to create a Wild Whisper layout. And so you saw at the beginning the layout that I found by Haley Michelle, and I just love it. I think that this is such a beautiful, simple, but just very striking layout. And so I really wanted to try and cut a photo and do this layout in my travel album. But I'm at the point with this album where I'm not going through it and trying to find the perfect picture for the layout that I'm doing or anything like that. I'm just flipping to the next page, and whatever picture is there and needs to be scrapped, that's the picture that I'm picking because I just really want it done. I'm so anxious to see these albums. It's actually 2 albums now. I'm so anxious to see them done and to be able to flip through it with the kids and remember our trip. So the picture that I'm at now, it could have worked, and it's one of the reasons I kind of was looking for an inspiration piece that had a landscape style picture, but I doodled a little bit on the back just to see if I could get the shape of the mountains to fit how we were standing and not completely lose the ocean behind us, and it just wasn't looking right. I couldn't cut all the way down to the bottom corners of the picture. It would have cut off too much of, I think, myself and Kaylin are on either side, and so I will do this layout again. I really want to scrap lift it with the actual mountains the way that they are. But in the meantime, what I took from the inspiration was the white stamping in the back, which was the perfect opportunity to use some Wild Whisper stamps, and also just the idea of kind of that mirrored image. So I'm going to keep my picture as a 4x6, and I'm going to kind of create the mirror with a journaling card from one of the Wild Whisper collections. So you can see all I did here was I went through some of the stamp sets that have more of the travel theme to them. So there's the adventure stamp set, and the road trip stamp set has the license plate stamps. So I pulled out Nova Scotia and Canada from there. I used a quote from the Out and About stamp set, and I think I also used the Strong and Free stamp set, which is a Canadian themed collection, so it's perfect for Canadian road trips or any kind of travel that you might be doing within Canada. And so all I did was just place the ones that I had chosen onto that long stamping block that I have, and I stamped that down a couple times. So there's a bit of a pattern and a bit of repetition, but I left enough spaces that I could then take the individual stamps and kind of squish in some of that space and nestle them in together and kind of create that same feeling of the background from the original layout. Now mine is definitely a lot brighter, I guess. The inking that I'm using is a lot more concentrated, so it shows up a lot brighter on the background. And then I'm also using bigger stamps. The original layout has more of a text stamp, and it's quite subtle in the background, but I love these stamps, and so I really wanted them to be showcased, and I wanted you to be able to read some of those quotes and read the words and stuff like that and make them more of I guess a statement with the layout instead of just having them be some texture in the background. But you can see here where I'm filling in the gaps. I'm doing some second generation stamping too, and I'm not re-inking my stamp really well each time. So there are different layers to the color of the background. So once that was all dry, I went ahead and kind of picked where I want to put my photo. So I'm going just slightly more to the top than to the bottom, which is again just like the original layout. I should say the original layout is not 12 by 12, so that's definitely something that I'm doing different as well. And I went through a whole bunch of cards and ended up picking this one here from the More Adventures collection. It was the second version of the Adventures collection that Susie and Heather released, and so it has these really fun, vibrant colors, and I think that they were the closest match to the picture from the cards that I had available. So they just, in our picture, there's a bright blue from the ocean, and there's bright green from the hills, pink in Kaylin's t-shirt, red, almost more like an orangey red in Sebastian's t-shirt, and Fox is wearing blue, and I have flowers with a few different colors on them in my t-shirt or in my shirt as well. So I just felt like it kind of had a similar feel to it compared to the other cards, and that's what you're looking for when you're doing a mirrored effect, I guess, or as close as I could get to it. And then the other way that I really wanted to make sure that they looked similar was I needed a white border around the card. So I just cut off a tiny, tiny sliver, like not even 1/8 of an inch around the card on all sides, and then matted it on some white cardstock. So it doesn't have quite as large of a border as my photo does, but close enough, and I think it looks good. You can definitely tell that the border is there. And so to kind of finish off the layout, I didn't need to put a quote like they have, like Haley put in her original. It doesn't need a title or journaling or anything like that. And because my stamping is so bold, it really wouldn't have shown up the way that it does in the original layout. So I thought instead I would go ahead and use these arrows. And those are from the Adventure Ephemera Pack, the newest release that was released in April. So those are kind of like my horizon, with the picture being the top and then the card being the bottom mirror image. And I'm also adding some wood veneer. Those come from Evalicious. I think I got them from Peachy Cheap in a travel themed kit probably 2 or 3 years ago. So I just grabbed one for the picture and one down at the bottom for the card, because there's wood veneer in the original as well. And I also did outline with a white pen around the edge of the layout. I just felt like it needed to have that. You guys know I like to do that anyways. And I added a couple little words up at the top of the picture, also from the Adventure Ephemera Pack. And that's it. So simple, so easy, so quick to put together, but I love it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Use my discount code DTGen at checkout to get 10% off of your purchases at the Wild Whisper store. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.